Hello and welcome to my brand new channel Gel with Mark. Here you'll see me use various techniques and processes and maybe a few little tips that I use on the gel plate to help me create my artwork, and hopefully you'll be inspired to try some of these yourself. Well, without further ado, let's crack on with the first video, which is all about charcoal image transfers. So what you will need for an charcoal image transfer is something to draw on, so you can either use copy paper or something with a smooth surface, or like I'm using here, tracing paper. You will also need an image to draw, so either draw freehand, or if you feel that you struggle with drawing, why not use a photo reference. I've just taken a picture of myself and printed it out on an inkjet printer, just to give me a reference point that I can put my tracing paper over. And as this is a charcoal image transfer method, you will need some charcoal to draw with. I'm using pure charcoal, but you might be able to do it with a charcoal pencil. I'm not sure. You'll have to try that. So once you've got your image reference ready, or if you're drawing freehand, the next thing to do is to just draw the image. I would try and put on quite a liberal amount of charcoal to make sure you get a nice dark transfer. I will slightly speed up the video now to crack on through this drawing, because it might be a little bit dull if it's just me drawing with no music or anything going on in the background. So bear with me. So one thing that I find nice about this process is the fact that you can use, I think they're called blending sticks or smudge sticks, to soften some of the charcoal areas and get some more contrast into the image that you're drawing. So here I'm just smudging out some of the charcoal, blending it a little bit, adding a bit of a softer tone, and referring to my reference image underneath to make sure I'm getting it right. So I'll just speed through this like Speedy Gonzales. So that's the image done. Now it's time to get the gel plate. So the good thing about doing it on tracing paper is it allows you to see how to line it up on the gel plate if you don't want it particularly central, depending on the size of your image. I've also got a second image that I've done on tracing paper, which I did a different print from a few days ago. And that's the nice thing about doing it on tracing paper, is you can re-add charcoal and use these transfers multiple times. So you've got to be precise, not too precise, but once the tracing paper touches that gel plate, it will stick to it like a magnet. So try and get it right first time, and then it's just a case of putting it down and giving it a nice smooth over with your hand. Make sure you get good contact everywhere, to make sure all of that charcoal transfers onto the gel plate. Now I also like to be a little bit more thorough, and I sometimes get out something like a Baron, or I don't have a Baron, so I just use a normal drinking glass to give a bit more pressure to the overall image to
make sure I get a really good contact with the gel plate. And there you go, it's as simple as that. That's the transfer. Now I was quite surprised when I first did this as a technique that the charcoal doesn't rub off. As you can see, I'm rubbing it off, put my finger on it, I'm putting a fair amount of pressure on it, it just doesn't move. So you don't need to fix it or anything or worry about it smudging. I tried a graphite technique. The problem with the graphite is once you then put a wet medium over the top, it actually muddies up the paint that you put on top. So going back to the charcoal image transfer, here I'm just laying down my second transfer. I didn't really think about this too much. I probably should have put it down in a slightly different location, but it was just an experiment to see what a double image would come out like. So I'm just going through the whole process again of putting it down, rubbing it, adding a bit more pressure with the glass, and there you go. That second one's come out fine as well. So now once you've done this, you can do a number of things. I'm just doing a simple print here, which is just after I've done this transfer, I'm just adding one layer of acrylic. I use Amsterdam Standard Series acrylic. I think this is like Naples red colour, and I also like to put it on with a palette knife, because I find sometimes when I just splodge a big lump on the gel plate, then the brayer doesn't quite blend it in or blend it out very well when I brayer over it. So this is just my method. People have asked me why I do this, and it's simply because I just like to do it this way. So once I put a bit of paint on, not too much, if you've done gel plating before, you just got to basically blend it out, get a nice even coat, not too thick, ready for putting the paper on. Sometimes I also don't want just a nice crisp clean edge to my prints, so here I'm just simply torn a piece of paper, and with the torn edge I'm just loosely placing it over the edge of the gel plate just to remove some of that acrylic paint to give a bit of a distressed look. Now it's on with the paper. So I actually use a fairly heavyweight paper. I think this is about 200 GSM. This is by Canson. It's a Canson Imagine multimedia paper. I like a heavier weight paper because I tend to use quite a lot of paint and layers within my artwork, and this paper doesn't seem to buckle too much depending on how much I put on it, so it's a nice paper to use. I also like to add a bit of weight over the top when I'm leaving it to dry, just to make sure I get a really nice contact. Now I probably left this print for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. I like to leave it a little bit of time just to make sure it dries onto the paper and I get a nice clean pull. And there you go. That's a charcoal image transfer. Now, it comes out really nice. I really like the look of it. It almost has a slightly softer look to it after you've put it onto the gel plate and put the paint on the top. If I bring it a bit closer, you can see the kind of the look you can get. I really like it, and it's a it's a really simple method. And the reason I came or thought about this method was because I can't get laser print image transfers to work, and I was trying to find alternatives, and I tried the graphite one, and like I said, it worked, but I wasn't that happy with it. And then I thought about charcoal, and surprisingly it's really good and really easy, and it's reusable. So it's an alternative to the image transfers like the magazine ones, if you can't get them to work. I also like this method because it's an original image. It's not just from a magazine, you know, it's more arty, and it'll show you something else that you can do with it. So here was the original second image that I did, and I've just done the transfers normal, and then I've done brushwork with acrylic paint and a limited palette on the back of that. So all on the plate, all at one time. I try to do one pull. I don't really like to try and do building up layers. I like to do it all on the gel plate. So just to give you an idea of, you know, what else you can do with this charcoal transfer method. So hopefully this is giving you some ideas, and you like this, you found it informative. You know, like I say, this is a new channel, so please do the like and the subscribe to help my channel to grow, and I'll see you next time. Bye.